going to take a look at arpeggios and how to construct them. But we're going to start with a very simple arpeggio. We're going to start with a major arpeggio. And of course the first question to answer is, what is an arpeggio exactly? And the answer to that question is, an arpeggio is simply a chord structure where instead of strumming the chord or playing all the notes at once, you instead pick out the notes individually. So for this arpeggio, we're going to use a G major chord. And so the basic concept would be to, instead of playing those all at once, pick them out like that. But I'm going to show you also a different concept that you can add to that. Because it's true, an arpeggio is taking the notes of a chord and picking them out in a linear fashion. But I'm going to show you how to actually build arpeggios from a scale or mode that still coincides with that chord itself. So go in for a closer look. Okay, so as I had said before, one way to build an arpeggio is to actually build it straight out of the chord itself. Like that. But it's a G major chord, and so one thing that you can do, for instance, if someone were to sit there and play that G major chord the whole time, if you just played the G major scale over top of it, you could solo directly out of the scale, which sounds boring and mundane, but I do it a lot, because the G major scale, you can sit there and solo right out of it. So that means that we can also build an arpeggio straight out of that scale. And this is where it becomes a whole thing of personal artistic taste. Because as long as you're building the arpeggio straight out of the notes of that scale, you can use whatever notes from that scale that you want. And so my preference was, I was sitting down and I was working with an arpeggio the other day, and I decided to start with the first note, the root, which is the 3rd fret on the low E, and then take the 5th note of the scale, which is happens to be the 5th fret on the A string, and then to take the 9th note, which is the 7th fret on the D string, and then to take the 10th, which is the 4th fret on the G string, and the 12th, which is the 7th fret on the G string. Because I think people have this whole concept where arpeggios have to incorporate all 6 strings. And you can do that if you want. A lot of people play arpeggios that way, but as long as an arpeggio includes at least 3 notes from that chord, which is the triadic chord structure, it can be counted as an arpeggio because that's basically a basic chord structure. So I say this because you can make them as expansive or limited as you want, and sometimes a moderation is a good thing. So in this case, this arpeggio that I built only uses the 4 strings of E, A, D, and G. And so I didn't feel the need to go up and finish it with the root note up here on the 3rd fret, which I could certainly do. But for artistic majors, this is a really pretty arpeggio that can be played straight over the G major chord. So it's very pretty. And again, that's the 3rd fret on the low E, 5th fret with the middle finger on the A string, pinky on the 7th fret of the D string, so it's got that, and then index finger on the 4th fret of the G, pinky on the 7th fret of the G. It's very, very, very pretty. So I'm going to do a part 2 of this video, which will show a lot more. And so work on that and stick around, because part 2 will be really, really revealing as well. So have fun.